Hi, everyone. Welcome to X Level Inc. Exclusives. I am so excited today because I am joined by a very dear friend, and actually, I should say, first client of X Level Inc., Jill-Michele Meleán. And I am so excited to have her with us. Jill-Michele, we'll go into a little bit later how we met, which was a lot of fun, and probably she's already made into a joke somewhere else that she's people. But I am so excited. She has an exclusive White Latina. If you've not seen it, comedy exclusive on Amazon, I highly recommend it. She also has a movie called Meg. She was on Reno 911. She was on Mad TV. She was toured everywhere with her great comedy. But what most people do not realize is also she's a writer, she's a director, she's a fitness expert, and just a woman on a mission to transform lives, but also to transform Hollywood. So welcome to the show, Jill-Michele. I'm so excited to have you with us.
Thank you. What a nice intro. Thank you so much. That was beautiful. I'm like, who? Who are you talking about? Like, that's so awesome. I'm humble. I'm humble.
You are so sweet. Well, I will tell you this. It's nice to be humble, but one thing I'm learning in my meditative practice right now is we also have to learn just to say thank you. Because the more we say thank you, the better it's going to get. And I'm sure that that resume doesn't end there. It's just going to keep on growing as we go forward.
Absolutely. So, yeah. We have to keep evolving with the times. And I love to do many things and affect many lives. I mean, that's why I do so many things, is because I know with entertainment, you affect these people. With fitness, you affect these people. With this, but it's all still the same thing. You're still on stage, and I'm still
I'm just gonna let out. So, well, and Jill-Michele, on that note, tell me a little bit about your career, how you got started as a comedian. Because your acting career really started there, right? If I'm mistaken, or did acting start and then being a comedian?
Actually, acting did start before I was in theater, and I did I toured with the Coconut Grove Playhouse, which was like the Broadway of Miami. And so I came from a theatrical background, but I always made people laugh as a kid, and I entertained, and I knew I had this innate gift, because I really feel like laughter is something, or being a comedian, having that timing is something that it can't be learned. It can be to an extent. When you just have that natural gift, it's such a beautiful joy to just be talking to somebody and see them go, you're like, yes! It's so,
like, I have it.
Yeah, like it's for me, that's what makes gives me butterflies. It gives me butterflies when I'm just talking to somebody and see them smile and just have joy in their soul. It's so empowering to me. So comedy was where I knew it was naturally going. I didn't realize that I really did have a gift of stand-up until I moved to Los Angeles. And I came from, the Coconut Grove Playhouse, and was in theater. And I was also doing sketch comedy in Miami. I toured with a sketch comedy group. So I moved out here going, where's the sketch comedy groups? And they're all like, you have to enroll in classes, and I was like, but I went to college, So it was having to enroll again in the Groundlings and Second City and Improv Olympic at the time. And I needed the stage fix. I was like, I need that immediate gratification of audience people. So I started to do stand-up. I was standing in line with homeless people, because that's what open mic is. And you're like, oh my gosh. And with time, of course, I stood out from the group. And with that, I started getting more stage time. And I was like, found that was incredibly terrifying, but gratifying at the same time. So that's where I went. Yeah.
Terrifying. I'm not a comedian myself. I know at Women in the World last year, there was a comedic panel. And, I'm curious, as a Latina comedian, what were some of the challenges that you had to overcome, or did you have to overcome any, for your career? Wow, your face says it all. So tell us.
Yeah. It's still that way. I have a lot more credits than a lot of the newbie people coming in, to the comedy clubs. And it's still a boys' game. It's still, it's changed a lot. There's a lot more females. When I first started, there was, very charactery females. You know, we had like Brett Butler, Roseanne, those were the iconic figures. So there wasn't many girls that looked like me, meaning like a girl next door or your girlfriend, your friend, you know, they were always very charactery. And so now I hope that I was a pioneer that opened doors for a lot of these beautiful girls that are doing comedy now. Cause there's a lot more.
Right.
At the time, it was incredibly difficult. A lot of them, you know, were kind of like, what's this actress trying to do, you know, being a stand-up. Now things have crossed over a lot. There's a lot of actors that do stand-up and vice versa. But at the time, it was like, you're a stand-up comedian or you're a sketch comic or you are an actor. It was very strange. And I was like, I want to do it all. You know, now we're doing it all. But even till this day, I am considered one of the boys now because I walk in, they're like, Jill-Michele, what's up? You know, it's still a boys' game, meeting like when they're doing a roster for a show, they're like, oh, we need a girl. And then I get the call. So it's starting to change. There are little bits that now it's just like, hey, let's put everybody on the lineup, let's whatever. But it's been a very slow transition, just like any movement happens. You know, it takes time, but I'm very grateful to look back and go, my gosh, 20 years ago, it was not, girls weren't hardly at all. And now there's a lot more girls. So it is changing, it is evolving, but it's taking time. It definitely has taken a lot of time. Yeah.
Well, I'm sure. And on that note, I'm just curious from a perspective of looking at yourself introspectively. You know, you did Reno 911, you did Mad TV. In all this, what was maybe the biggest challenge you had to overcome, you know, as, you know, a great female actress and a comedian?
For me, it was, I want to do so much. I'm a person that my brain works really rapid fire fast. So I can multitask very well when it comes to something I love. When it's something I don't love, I'm like, what? I'm like, I don't know what's happening. You know, that's what I have you for, to because I'm like, I don't want to do that. But it'll say it's a production. You know, I love wearing multiple hats. I love producing. I love being on camera. I love making sure that, you know, we're working with the actors, nailing that, making sure the shot is set up right. I love to have all these kind of things, these multitask things. And I think the hardest thing for me to overcome was to sit still, and allow it to just happen. And just like right now, for instance, you know, I wrote the thriller script based on a con man that I dated, which thank goodness it was used for something good. But it's on a true story, and it was very cathartic to write. And it took 2 years to really get out and get a solid, amazing script. And now that it's done, I'm like, and you know,
I know I'm getting the and call.
That is the hardest part as someone that is, their brain is constantly like whatever, because you're just like, but now what's next? What's next? And even with this pandemic, it's really making me stop and slow down and going, you have done so much. Like I reflect and I go, my days were, and even though I'm still busy during pandemic, I can't believe it.
We squeeze in a call, by the way, for anybody that's out there. It takes us 2 weeks sometimes to schedule around both of our schedules during the pandemic, everything going on, because we're both so busy. Isn't it funny? Go ahead. Sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just thought.
No, but that's why I gravitated to you, because I think you understood the way my brain works, because you're very similar. And you were like, I got you. Don't worry about it. You know, so I was like, you're like, I got it. Where other people are like, whoa, just calm down, you know? But yeah, it's really taking a step back and going, my days were constantly all over. And now I have time to go, oh, instead of running to that meeting, I can sit at home, have the meeting. And then guess what? I get to go for a walk and be with nature and look at the sky. And so now my schedule is getting filled now with more places of more gratitude, just being. And as opposed to, oh, I'm gratitude because I'm on set. I'm gratitude because, oh, I got this call and I'm generating this, next thing is happening. Now you're like, I'm just in gratitude because that leaf just flew down, and how beautiful was that? Like, thank you. So, yeah.
No, I agree with you. And, one of the things that I want to touch upon, because I have to tell you, your script, I did, just to put it out there, I got through in one sitting because I was so enthralled by it, and I personally loved it. And I don't say that as a manager. I say that as a person that just read it with that objective perspective. And I have to ask you, how long did it take yourself to forgive yourself for that? Because to be able to write like that, like you said, was a cathartic experience. That was a lot that happened. So how did that process go along for you from an empowerment perspective? Because I think many of us out there, life happens, and yet that forgiveness for ourselves, because in my eyes, you really had to have done that in order to write such a great script from that perspective.
I think it's like with anything, and I apologize if you hear snoring. My dog is next to me snoring.
I love Mr. Jack. It's okay.
Mr. Jack, anything crazy I do, he's like, he's so used to it. Being on sets, explosions, everything's like, take a nap. I think what happens is, it's just with any person that's empathetic or compassionate, there is a spiritual searching that happens. And you have to, well, for me, I keep going until something resonates with me. Then when it does, I grab onto that and I learn everything that I can from that to empower myself. Because I've heard no so much in my life. And that has, instead of pushing me down, because at times you're like, gosh, what it said is like, okay, maybe not you, but what about here? Okay, maybe not you, because you keep knocking on those doors. And so what happened was, with this script and with this whole journey and what happened, I sought therapists, because I went, this was bizarre to be with a sociopath. Like, I have a good career. I'm smart. I really would think I have a good judgment of people. Like, how did I get here? Like, so when I first went to just a regular therapist, it was all, so let's think about why you attracted this. And I was like, oh, no, that doesn't work for me, because I go because I don't want to be judging people before I let them in. No, it is not about me. This was not about me, meaning that it's not something for me to go inside and figure out what is wrong with me. I'm a loving person. My heart is open. How can I identify this type of person again so that I don't allow them in? That was what I was seeking. I went to a hypnotherapist, and they're all like, close your eyes and go down. I go, look, I got a good imagination. I can go lots of places. I was like, this is not helping. When are we going to get to the core of this? And she was just, here's your money back, whatever. And I finally found psychotherapists in London and in Australia, and I worked with them, and they helped me see a sociopath's blueprint. And they said, nothing is wrong with you. This is why now you can see the blueprint, and that they go after people that are awesome people. They always go after that because they know that you want to see the light in them. They know that, and that's what feeds them. So the light feeds them, and the minute you see their darkness, they're out. And that's what's devastating, is because you're like, what, all this happened, and you just walked away and left, like, and you could just go on to another relationship, and you took all these things, and how could you do it? It's because they feed. It's like a parasite. It's just feeding, and once it can't get any more, it will go to the next host. And it really helped me identify what love is. And it took time. It did, and I don't want to say that was an overnight thing at all. It took a lot of time. And I know sometimes I talk to my shaman friends, and they're like, don't say work hard, blah, blah, blah. And I go, well, that you're taking it out of context. When you want to work hard, like going to the gym, if you want to look good, you got to hit the gym. You got to hit those muscle groups. You got to work those muscle groups, and then you're going to start to see a result. I go, that's what this was for me. It was hitting those muscle groups and those fires in my brain to send those signals. So then therefore I know it isn't about me.
Right.
It's about looking outside of that. And also the art of allowing and
Right.
allowing someone, if you are a crazy person or a sociopath or a narcissist, then you stay over there. I can't help you or change you. You go over there and I'm going to be over here and create healthy boundaries. So it was an incredibly difficult but rewarding journey. It was intense, and I'm so happy that I actually got it out on paper to help share that with other people. So in a mainstream form, in a feature film, so people can understand that they're not alone and it's not about them. It really isn't.
And I have to tell you, that's actually why I'm so excited about this project, because I really think this type of movie would help so many individuals, successful individuals that sometimes are so successful in one way, but maybe missing certain things emotionally. And that's where a character like this comes after them. So I'm excited. So we're going to put that out into the universe, that's going to happen. And so we can definitely toast that in the near future. The other thing I wanted to talk about is, talking about transition, and thank you for sharing about how you worked your muscle within yourself to say, how am I going to make this better? What am I doing within myself to make these avenues better? And what I loved about what you stated was how you really transformed yourself. And I know that you also teach fitness, talk about a person that does everything. You taught fitness. I know you've recently made a certain decision to kind of help you there from that perspective. But I loved a previous conversation we had before we even started this, which is when you finally say no to something so you can say yes to something else, and what that transition speaks of. So do you mind sharing a little bit with the audience about that?
But which topic would you like me to focus on?
Saying about the I would say like the gym decision, even though it's something that you love.
Yes.
And knowing that you're going to be open to something else. Because I would say personally that whether it be an actor or, quite frankly, it could be an accountant that is in furlough right now. It could be a mom who's now figuring out, how am I going to teach my kids at home during the fall season and do everything else that they're doing. So I think a lot of us are in transition right now. But I also think that what you said about the art of allowing and allowing it to happen, I loved how you spoke about that, and then following your gut and saying it's going to be okay. So if you don't mind, not to put all the words in your mouth, but out there, in that vicinity.
I love it. Echo on what you just said. It's this, it's a place where, a lot of spiritual teachings, and you don't have to be religious to be spiritual, and that's what I love about spirituality, is that we're energy, and we are here for the human experience. And so we are here to have contrast, and the contrast allows us to grow and expand. So we shine brighter. And it's going to be constant, because I know we pray for peace. But if we had peace, it would be boring. So when something hits you like that, I've now and this is something that can't be, again, learned. It has to be resonates. And so you can hear it intellectually and be like, no, I understand what you're saying. I got it. But it's not until it's in your spirit that you realize that you are okay. That you realize that the more you trust the divine and trust that you are energy, that it's almost like, I feel like it's a porthole, like, or you're a shiny object, right? So the more you get upset, or you get nervous, or you have anxiety, it gets dirty, and you start to now look like the coronavirus, so
all these things with a bunch of spikes.
Spikes. And so great things can't go there, because they're like, oh God, okay. So those great energies can't go in. But if you're just like, you know what, I'm gonna appreciate, I'm gonna shed that, I'm gonna love, I'm gonna give without being taken advantage of, but enjoy nature, and enjoy that I have 2 feet to walk on, enjoy that I can go in the mirror and put a little makeup on, like stupid little things that some people think is like whatever, but you start to really just have appreciation for this human existence. I've been testament to it, where all of a sudden doors start opening, calls start coming in, emails start coming in. A stranger on the street comes up to you and goes, "What a beautiful smile you have." Well, we have masks now, but what beautiful eyes you have.
Yeah.
You know? And little affirmations, you're open to more of those affirmations. And when you're feeling good, your light is bigger and more things start coming to you of light, because they're attracted to that. And also, I've really realized too that the more you are open to that, your body tells you before your mind does.
Right.
So you will be able to say, my God, like indicator is within me. That's when they say pray and meditate, is because when you quiet the mind, you connect more towards your godlike nature.
Yeah.
And again, this God, when I say God, that's not a religious thing. That's the divine. That's you looking up into the sky and going, we're not alone. That's what that is.
And I will say this personally, my philosophy is that all religions lead to a divine. And that's just my personal philosophy. In whichever way you're comfortable with it, that's yours. And I think that that's a beautiful sentiment. And I agree with you. It's listening to our inner guts if we want to just get to the meat of the situation, if you will, for some others. But it's interesting, just like animals have an instinct to know when there's danger, so do humans. But I love what you were saying. It's about summarizing that within ourselves and saying, you know what, I can listen to this and I know when to trust it. And it might not be perfect. It might not be this, or I want this to work and you're feeling weird. It's the same thing as well. It's figuring out all those aspects of really getting them together. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. So, we're almost out of time, but one thing that I really would love to know from you, Jill-Michele, I know we can talk forever, as I love talking to her. So we'll have her back in the near future. But I have to ask you, before, and why don't you think about this while I summarize the conversation, I should say, is what I'm going to be asking you to think about is, what is a piece of advice you would give someone, that's out there going through transition, going through change? And also, I think a second thing would be, which I love about you, is that many people think that their life ends at a certain point, and I really feel like yours just continues evolving and evolving. That's a beautiful sentiment as a role model to have for many others that are trying to find that within themselves. And I think that many humans are going through that right now. So while I summarize, think about those fabulous answers that we can give everybody. But for everyone, what I've heard today from Jill-Michele, and I hope that you walked away with, is from any amount of tragedy, you can turn into your triumph, like she has with her great script of what she's doing. Secondly, is sometimes society tries to put you in a silo. Don't be in one. You need to be your own best version of yourself. And if you're comfortable in just a little silo, that's okay too. But if you want to do multiple things, she's a testament that anything is possible. You're in charge of your own destiny. Allow that to happen. And with that note, know that when you've taken everything on, just because you conquered it doesn't mean you have to keep doing that same thing over and over, because you can choose what your new focus is going to be. And the other aspect is, don't forget your inner gut, because like she said, in doing those mindful practices, whether it's brushing your hair, brushing your teeth, or just putting on a fabulous lipstick, it's something to be grateful for that moment, and just appreciating that. And I know that for myself, when I walk through my neighborhood later on tonight, I'll be looking at a leaf and remembering this conversation of what you said. It's being grateful for what is flowing around you or what is around you, and just allowing that to be the muscle that you're working on, just like you would go to the gym. So Jill-Michele, what are your parting words to the group?
My parting words are the challenges that we face individually, because they're always different depending on which individual. So it's something that might be hard to me is not hard for somebody else, and vice versa. I feel as though if something challenges you in a way that brings you joy, do it. If it does not bring you joy, don't do it. And that is our indicator. That is our godlike nature. That is our divine. And it took me so many years for that to resonate in my soul. And I've been practicing that really diligently with mind, body, soul connection in the last year only of my life. I really finally got it. And it's not like God got it. It's like, oh, that I don't like that. And it's, you feel it, your body just goes, oh no. And when something like that happens, just shift your perspective. You don't have to judge it, but just shift your perspective to something that go, oh, well, I like this. And focus more on the things that you do like. But don't get comfortable with being uncomfortable, because uncomfortability allows you to focus more on the things that you like. So if a director is yelling at you and is rude or whatever, just realize, I'm on set. I love being on set, and whatever that's going on in their life is going on in their life. I am happy and I'm here. So I'm going to take those little elements of direction that they said, and I'm going to ignore the rest.
Right.
And I am going to have fun. And so that is my thing is every situation you can find joy. So find joy and just soar, and your human experience is endless. And how great is it that we do have that. But I will say this, and this is what I'll leave on, is I was in Sedona a few weeks ago, and it was my first time there. And there was an angel, a man that came onto the path when I was going to the vortex on a hike. And out of nowhere, he says to me, he goes, use less of this and more of this. And I went, thank you. And I just, my eyes watered, and I've really taken that. And it's so true. When you use this, you can't go wrong.
Right. Yeah.
This will kill us sometimes.
Yes. Yes, it will. Yes, it will. Because, and you're true. What a beautiful moment that you had.
It was powerful.
Right now, I'm like, wow. No, definitely. Well, and I will tell you this, on that note, I hope all of us discover to use your heart a little bit more, love more. And remember this, that you never know who you're going to meet. And I did tell you I was going to tell you this. We literally met at a restaurant when I had finally made the decision of opening the company, going back to just allow things to happen, and they will. So I will tell you, Jill-Michele, you're a shining star to so many. You do so many fabulous things. I hope you got to know a little bit of her personality today, because I know it and we all love it and adore it. And I will tell you this, should you want to work with someone like Jill-Michele, know you can contact us at X Level Inc. But also know this, I hope she becomes a role model, somebody that you watch, somebody that you follow, and someone that inspires you to be better tomorrow. So on that note, I hope you have a fabulous day. Thank you for joining us at X Level Exclusives, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye.